January 29, 1934. The Los Angeles Times released a shocking headline. It covered the remains of lizard people discovered beneath downtown LA, which would soon be unearthed. The first person to discover the remains was geophysical mining engineer G. Warren Shufelt. He claimed to have discovered a suspicious tunnel near Fort Moore Hill while he was testing his radio X-ray detector used to survey subsurface topography. The tunnel was formed approximately 300 meters below the ground, with a diameter of 3 to 4 meters. Surprisingly, there was not one, but several branches intertwined with each other like ant tunnels. Considering the size and shape, it would be impossible for the tunnel to be naturally formed. I have drilled through the ground several times, but this is my first time seeing such a sight. There are several horizontal tunnels below the ground, connected to each other without slopes. No digging traces are found inside. It has a round and smooth finish as though piercing a lump of ice with a heated iron skewer. There is no retaining wall or some sort of wall to prevent the ground from collapsing, so I have no idea how it did not collapse during the excavation process. In the early days of exploration, Shufelt thought that the tunnel was part of the Broadway tunnel construction under Fort Moore Hill. 5 tunnel constructions had been conducted in the same area since the early 1900s, leaving traces of construction work throughout downtown LA. However, the underground tunnel was too elaborate to be considered something from the past. It also looked too old to be considered recently built. Shufelt was unsure, so he mapped out the course of the tunnels to find out where they started, as well as where they led to. Through this process, he learned that the tunnels were not in a particular area, but were widely spread throughout the city, from Mount Washington to Santa Monica Bay. Now that deserves the name Giant Underground Tunnel. Despite having visited local government offices and searched through all California record, Shufelt could not find anything related to this specific construction. After, the chief of the Hopi tribe, an indigenous tribe living in Arizona, told him an unbelievable story. 5,000 years ago, a huge tongue of fire came down from the sky to the southwest, destroying all life in its path. The lizard people, who were on the verge of extinction, abandoned their burnt hometown and crossed the sea, heading to a new land. In case catastrophe strikes again in the future, a road and 3 cities were built underground. One of them is beneath Los Angeles. The aforementioned lizard people are unidentified ancient human beings commonly found in indigenous American mythology, which is rooted in the Pacific coast. It is believed that as the descendants of the ancient Maya people who blossomed a brilliant civilization in Central America, the lizard people are called as such due to how they worship lizards, rather than their appearances resembling lizards. Although some mystics claim that the lizard people are the origin of reptilians, a connection between the 2 species has not been found so far. Modern scholars presume that the huge tongue of fire found in indigenous American mythology may refer to an asteroid impact. Ancient people, witnessing an asteroid falling from the sky and burning tens or even hundreds of kilometers of land, may have interpreted it as a punishment from the gods. We may not know how big the catastrophe was, but we do know that the lizard people, who lost their homes as a result, chose to live below ground of what is now known as Los Angeles. It is presumed that they had such advanced technology that could even rebuild an almost destroyed civilization in a short period of time. What is especially interesting is that there is passage in the article about the lizard people using chemical engineering to build an underground civilization. The lizard people were of a much higher type intellectually than modern human beings. According to the legend, the lost city, dug with powerful chemicals by the lizard people instead of pick and shovel, was drained into the ocean where its tunnels began. The tide passing daily in and out of the lower tunnel portals and forcing air into the upper tunnels provided ventilation and cleansed and sanitized the lower tunnels, the legend states. Large rooms in the domes of the hills above the city of labyrinths housed 1,000 families in the manner of tall buildings, and imperishable food supplies of the herb variety were stored in the catacombs to provide sustenance for the lizard folk for great lengths of time as the next fires swept over the earth. It is said that they also passed on a portion of their technology to indigenous Americans. This might be the reason why lizards are described as gods in the indigenous American mythology. At first, Shufelt thought that the Hopi chief's story was a mere myth, at least until he felt extreme déjà vu upon the sight of the traditional geometric patterns handed down to the Hopi people. He observed the patterns closely and was shocked to his core. The shape of the thick lines, connected to each other like a spider webs, were identical to the course of the tunnels he had mapped out. This led him to believe that the story about the lizard people was not a mere legend, but a part of ancient history. He risked his life to find a key room buried somewhere in the underground tunnel. According to the legend, the lizard people recorded the tragedy that went through, as well as the secrets of human origin on 37 gold plates that are 1.2 meters long. These gold plates were then buried in the deepest key room of the tunnel. Shufelt ended up combining the course he had mapped out with the traditional patterns to create a map to find it. He overlaid the map of downtown LA on top of it as well. The underground tunnel turned out to be the connector between Elysian Park and the Los Angeles Central Library. On top of that, there were large and small rooms in between. A mining engineer claimed that there are treasures buried by lizard people beneath the city. With his radio X-ray detector, he succeeded in finding the location of the key room where the treasures were buried. In addition, he also had applied for an excavation permit to the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors. Since then, American media outlets such as the Associated Press and the Los Angeles Times began writing news reports about Shufelt's track record, elevating him to famous status in the U.S. The treasure hunting process became sort of soap opera for the people during the Great Depression in the 1930s. Unfortunately, as it became more known, there were consequences as well. Some media outlets described Shufelt as a dreamer chasing his own futile dreams. There were also people following him and damaging the exploration site, interfering with his excavation work. Using a detector to continue to survey, Shufelt managed to locate a 580-meter-square warehouse and 16 small rooms presumably containing gold. As he obtained the excavation permit from the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors, he began conducting a full-scale excavation. It was the moment when the world was introduced to the underground civilization of the lizard people, and all media outlets had their eyes on Shufelt. Unfortunately, there was unexpected news. The conflict between Shufelt's exploration team and the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors grows worse. Both sides had initially agreed upon a deal under the condition that if a treasure is found during the exploration, the proceeds will be divided into 50-50. However, they appear to have encountered several problems since the actual excavation began. Shufelt had planned to dig up to 300 meters below the ground and had gotten the permission to do so. Although the excavation seemed to be going smoothly, the rock layer below the ground was harder than expected, resulting in the team taking more time to drill through it. After a month of excavation, they were able to reach 75 meters. However, the rock was not the problem here. The exploration was suddenly discontinued as the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors stated that there was a high risk of the ground collapsing during the process. Following the discontinuation, the laborious underground tunnel exploration remained nothing but a pipe dream. The lizard people's gold plates are a lost page of ancient history that we have not been able to unravel so far. If we stop the excavation now, this priceless legacy will forever remain as a mere legend. Despite Shufelt's efforts to resume the exploration, the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors' stance on this matter did not change, even went as far as buying a land near the excavation site, attempting to conduct excavation work there to prove a point. It was too much work for one man, and in the end, he could not locate the key room. After losing all his property, Shufelt passed away in November 1957. The story of the lizard people then became one of the representative urban legends of the U.S. Numerous TV stations, newspapers, and even podcasts may have covered the legend of the lizard people, but the truth has never been revealed. Is Los Angeles County underground lizard person kingdom a mere fiction? Who knows? Maybe there is a lost civilization that has not been found yet, somewhere below the ground. Busy Los Angeles, although little realizing it in the hustle and bustle of modern existence, stands above a lost city of catacombs filled with incalculable treasure and imperishable records of a race of humans further advanced intellectually and scientifically than even the highest types of present-day peoples. In the belief of G. Warren Shufelt, geophysical mining engineer now engaged in an attempt to wrest from the lost city deep in the earth below Fort Moore Hill the secrets of the lizard people of legendary fame and the medicine lodges of the American Indian. This has been Strange Night.